Flight kicks black woman out of first class, then finds out she quietly owns the airline. The hum of the airplane engines filled the cabin of Flight 392, a red-eye from Chicago to Los Angeles. First class was a cocoon of privileged plush seats, clinking glasses, the soft glow of reading lights. Amara Tate sat by the window in 2A, her eyes tracing the clouds outside, her fingers grazing the edge of a worn leather journal. At 42, Amara carried herself with the quiet grace of someone who'd fought for every inch of her place in the world. Her dark skin gleamed under the cabin light, and her tailored blazer spoke of success, though her expression held a trace of exhaustion not from the flight, but from life's endless battles. She'd built Horizon Airlines from nothing. A decade ago, it was a single charter plane, a dream born in a cramped apartment while she juggled 2 jobs and a mountain of debt. Now, Horizon was a respected carrier, and Amara was its silent owner, her name absent from public records to avoid the spotlight. She preferred it that way. The world didn't need to know who she was until it did. The trouble started 20 minutes after takeoff. A flight attendant, Karen, approached with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Her blonde ponytail swung as she leaned in, voice low but sharp. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there's been a mistake. This seat is reserved for another passenger. You'll need to move to economy." Amara's brow furrowed. She'd booked this seat herself, triple-checked the reservation. "There's no mistake," she said calmly, pulling out her boarding pass. "This is my seat." Karen's smile tightened. "I'm afraid there's been an overbooking issue. Please follow me." Her tone left no room for argument, and heads turned. A white man in a suit across the aisle glanced up, then back at his phone, uninterested. A young couple whispered, their eyes darting to Amara. "I'm not moving," Amara said, her voice steady but firm. "I paid for this seat. Check again." Karen's face flushed. "Ma'am, you're holding up the process. If you don't comply, I'll have to call security." The word security landed like a slap, and the cabin grew quieter. Amara felt the weight of every stare, the unspoken assumptions. She'd been here before, profiled, dismissed, underestimated. But this time it was her airline. The tension escalated as Karen signaled to a male colleague, Tom, who strode over with an air of authority. "Ma'am, let's not make this difficult," he said, his hand hovering near his radio. Amara's heart raced, but she kept her composure. "Do what you need to do," she said, her voice low. "But I'm not leaving my seat." The standoff drew every eye in first class. A black teenager in a hoodie, seated a few rows back, filmed the scene on his phone, his jaw tight with anger. An older white woman clutched her purse, muttering about disruptive passengers. The air crackled with judgment, and Amara felt it all, the weight of history, the sting of prejudice, the urge to scream. Then came the twist. The teenager, Jaden, stood up, his voice cutting through the tension. "Yo, check her boarding pass. She's not doing anything wrong." His boldness startled everyone, including Amara. Jaden wasn't just a bystander, was a scholarship kid, heading to LA for a tech internship, and he'd seen enough injustice to know what was happening. His mother had taught him to speak up, and he wasn't about to stay silent. Karen ignored him, but Tom hesitated, glancing at the boarding pass Amara held out. He scanned it, then frowned. "This checks out," he muttered, but Karen wasn't backing down. "There's still a mistake," she insisted. "We have a VIP in economy who needs this seat." Amara's eyes narrowed. "A VIP? Who?" Karen faltered, then named a B-list actor known for tabloid scandals. Amara almost laughed. She'd dealt with entitled celebrities before, but this was new. "So you're kicking me out for someone you think is more important?" she asked, her voice laced with quiet fury. The argument drew the attention of the captain, who emerged from the cockpit. Captain Reynolds, a grizzled veteran with a no-nonsense demeanor, took one look at the scene and demanded an explanation. Karen launched into her version, painting Amara as uncooperative. Jaden piped up again, holding up his phone. I got it all recorded. She didn't do nothing. Reynolds took the boarding pass, studied it, then looked at Amara. You're Amara Tate? He asked, his tone shifting. She nodded, and a flicker of recognition crossed his face. He turned to Karen. This woman isn't just a passenger. She owns Horizon Airlines. The cabin fell silent. Karen's face drained of color. Tom stepped back, his radio forgotten. The passengers' whispers turned to gasps. The older woman with the purse looked mortified. Jaden grinned, still filming. Told you, he said. Amara didn't gloat. She leaned back in her seat, her journal still in hand, and said, I'd like to stay where I am, if that's all right. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with a quiet triumph. Reynolds nodded, then turned to Karen. We'll discuss this later, he said, his tone final. The rest of the flight was a blur. Karen avoided Amara's section, and Tom offered an awkward apology. Jaden, now a minor hero, struck up a conversation with Amara, sharing his dreams of coding apps to fight injustice. She listened, impressed by his fire, and slipped him her business card. Keep that spark, she said. We need it. When the plane landed in LA, Amara stepped off first, her head high. Word of the incident spread fast, thanks to Jaden's video, which went viral on X. Passengers shared their outrage, and Horizon issued a statement condemning discrimination. Karen faced retraining, and Amara personally oversaw new protocols to ensure no one else endured what she had. But the real change came quietly. Amara invited Jaden to Horizon's headquarters, where she mentored him, seeing in him the same hunger she'd once had. She also reached out to the older woman from the flight, who'd written a heartfelt apology. They met for coffee, and Amara listened as the woman confronted her own biases. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. The incident wasn't just about one seat or one flight. It was about the countless times people like Amara are forced to prove their worth, their right to exist in spaces others take for granted. She didn't need to own an airline to deserve respect, but it sure made the lesson sting for those who judged her. In the end, Amara's story wasn't about revenge. It was about resilience, about building something despite the odds, about finding allies in unexpected places like a teenager with a phone and a heart full of courage. She kept flying, kept leading, kept proving that no one could take her seat. What do you think? Where do we draw the line between prejudice and accountability? And how do we build a world that judges less and listens more?